Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Nishmas guten Chodesh. Guten Chodesh. A reminder to the Olam. Reminder. This Beis Medrash is a Beis Medrash for Torah for the Daf. Tefillah, if you can make it before, Givaldik. If you can't, there's other minyan afterwards. This minyan, the minyan after, is to accommodate the Daf. This is MDY, Merkaz Daf Yomi. Shkoyach. Thank you. Rabbi, so we have a phenomenal daf today. Bemis, I'm very, very excited about today's daf. A lot of people are going to be tuning in. People are not from this year are going to be tuning into today's daf. Super, super easy. We had children here that were 8, 10 years old that understood the daf from beginning to end. Meanwhile, enjoy the food. This is the Beis Medrash in New York, in the 5 towns, where they show the shir twice every single day. Nachamol.
Okay, just got here. Started at 9 o'clock. It's 9:04. You have 2 people here. Definitely need some chizuk.
So I want to talk about that. I'll talk about it in a minute.
But you need chizuk.
Last night I was on a Zoom call with the people that run the satellite locations around Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi, if you could please tone it down. Now is daf time. Shkoyach. We have a place for guests over here. People want to sit down. Shkoyach. You're Levi? From Tel Aviv. Shalom Aleichem. Your last name, I don't want to say it mispronounced. How do you say it?
Ironic.
Oh, it's a good thing I didn't even try. Originally from Brooklyn. You're in Tel Aviv.
East 18th, RNS.
Wow.
In the Upper East for 4 years. And now
No, so how long are you doing this year?
a week.
Wow. So you drove in from Tel Aviv?
Right.
Listen, another 2 weeks you're going to open up a place, a satellite location in Tel Aviv. We need Tel Aviv.
We have 4 guys going.
Really? So here, this is what I'm talking about. Every night at 9 o'clock when I give the shir here in Hebrew, there are groups that get together around Eretz Yisrael, from Rechasim, which was the first group, to Bnei Brak, different places, 20 or so people. So we were discussing how to increase. Just yesterday, another group opened up in Bat Yam. And different groups that are not even on here. We have in Tveria, they said close to 15, 20 people every day. Rabbi say if it's possible to tone it down. Shkoyach. We have a long daf and we got to get going. So, Bekitzer, what I'm trying to say is that places around the world in Eretz Yisrael could use some chizuk. If you are there, you can go there and be mechazik them. And if you live in a place that you think that perhaps this place could use such a place, Adarabba, open up such a place, contact us, and we will help you out. I think we have one in Jackson. We have one in Ramat Eshkol in the morning live in Rechasim. Not in Rechasim, in Beitar. They just asked if they can use the equipment and do the same Hebrew shir, do it in the morning live. Bekitzer, things are happening. I believe there's a big future for it. What were you saying? The food is donated. Lili Nishmas? Reuven's mother. Her neshama should have an aliyah. What's her name?
Chanaleh Bas Meir HaKohen.
Chanaleh Bas Meir HaKohen.
And my daughter had a son 2 hours ago.
Whoa! Mazel tov, mazel tov. Exactly 350. You know what? Let me just do these. I have to go through these real quickly. So here, Shlomi Zayins, the reporter from the White House, in the White House doing the shir. He does the shir with us every single day. Rabbi said this is what one of the remote locations looks like in Bnei Brak at 9 o'clock. The guy, Moshe Cohen, rented a space in a nice office building. Look how many people come. Very nice. interviewing. That's Moshe Cohen himself. Put on the door, the place is the official MDY place. He bought a screen, the whole thing, decked it out. I liked one of the guys was saying, he was telling somebody was saying, a guy comes there in Petach Tikva, he's been there already for 2 weeks by himself. He's not giving up. He brings beer, things, he goes, I gained 10 pounds in the last week. He eats up all the food. So a guy told him, he said, listen, I learned from the base medrash. We have nice, you probably have plastic keter chairs, he tells him. Over here, we have nice chairs. We bought the same exact coffee machine that MDY has. We built a cabinet. We spent money on equipment, on the nice camera. He has the same kind of, what is it called? PTZ camera, v'chulu, v'chulu. It says, ein anius b'makam ashiros, he told him. Anyways, the Rabbi side, the Stamford Hill Siyum in London, over 60 people showed up, they told me. Here it is. You can see, like, I wish I could speed it up a little bit. Hold on, there's something coming up. That's why I'm showing the whole thing. Cop some food, Rabbi. I cop food. Meanwhile, right now.
Chassidim for MDY. Chassidim for MDY.
No Litvaks. That guy's not Litvish, right over there. Yeah, Doveris. With the little music going, very, very nice matzah. All right, Rabbi Sai, we're going to go straight into. I want to be maspik a little bit, even though it's a very short daf. Yesterday we only did like half of Amud Beis. I'm serious. Every single person is going to come at it. Wow, that was easy. Masechta sponsor anonymous, dedicated in memory of Reb Shmuel Boruch, Reb Chaim Zichron Levracha, Niftar Zayin Iyar. Masechta sponsored by anonymous. Hatzlacha Berухnיות ובגשמיות ולזכות אחינו בני ישראל. Anonymous. May our learning be a shield of protection and a source of unity and blessing by Am Yisrael. Joel Gedalius, Eli nishmas, my father Jack Gedalius. Monthly sponsors, TCS Israel, powered by TALKNSAVE. Yoni Klestzick, Refuah Sheleimah, Mir Mester, Bas Perel, Fradel, Pessel. Weekly sponsors, anonymous, L'chvoid, Binyomin Dessau, keep steiging. Daily sponsors, Berel Steinerman, in honor of my chavrusa Sam Grayman, Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm making his first siyum ever on Mishnayos Seder Nezikin, and in memory of his grandfather, Efrayim Ben Avraham, as Nishmas should have an aliyah. Anonymous, in honor of my MDY DAF anniversary, Baba Basra Daf Beis, and in honor of REB MENDEL PILCHICK and his status. I believe I don't remember which, the three Pilchik brothers came here. When was it? A week ago? I don't even remember. And so I best, no, it can't be a month ago. Anonymous, maybe. Lilishma is my grandfather. No, it was during the war, the 12-day war, as they call it. It was during then. Lilishma is my grandfather, David Ben Bayo, Yortzeit, 2nd of Tammuz. Anonymous. La'alu Nishmat, Eliyahu Ben Jamila. You got it, I don't know. Hashem knows what it is. Anonymous, thank you, Raveli and the MDY team. Yeshua Koyach Anonymous. Kids Monthly, MDY Kids. Chos for official Chonan Akiva. Rivka, Mrs. Stefansky. Am Yisrael for learning. 4 Mesechtas with the Rebel Yishkoyach. I like the way they shortened it up a little bit. Makis, Avodah Zarah, Shavuos, and now Avodah Zarah. Art of the month, Refuah Sheleimah for Yonatan Eitan Ben Bashev Bracha. Benny. You're the one that screams it out of it. Refuah Sheleimah, Yehonatan Eitan Ben Basheva Bracha. Verschos for Rebelli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable so many in honor of Yossi Klein, Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Voisai, we are holding what? Oh, okay. So yesterday we had that 180 years before the second Churban, the Romans, they took over. And that's when the Sanhedrin went from being in the Beis HaMikdash, as so, to going to a place called Chanus on Har HaBayis. They left the Beis HaMikdash. And the Gemara says, what's the difference? So they picked up a little bit. They moved 25 feet over to the other side. The Gemara says, no, because there's no longer dine knossos, no more penalties in Klal Yisrael. So if a person killed a slave, whatever it is, there's no penalties. Different penalties, no penalties. Now, the Gemara says, what do you mean? We'll go back a few lines. V'amar Rav Yehuda Marav, like 2 lines. By me, it's 2 lines before it becomes super wide. V'amar Rav Yehuda Marav, B'ram Zocha Yisish T'Toiv. Here, this is the matzeva of the Tana, one of the Asarei Harugi Malchus, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. B'ram Zocha Yisish T'Toiv, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Shemai, Shilmalahu, without him, Nishtachu Dini Knossos Yisrael, then all the halachas of Knas would be forgotten from Klal Yisrael. Ask the Gemara, Nishtachu, Ligrasino, what's the big deal? So learn it, teach it. Ella, Batlu Dini Knossos Yisrael. Not that we're going to forget it, but they stopped collecting the Knas. Because the wicked kingdom made a gzeira. If you get smicha, the original smicha, you die. And if you give smicha to somebody, you die. And if you receive smicha, you die. And any city that allows this to happen inside the city, any city that agrees to let smicha happen, Teicharev shall be destroyed. We're not going to go into Tchum, but basically Tchum is 2,000 amma from the outskirts of the city. You can no longer carry. However, if you put a piece of bread there, then that's an Erev Tchumim, and then it gives you another 2,000 amma from that point. But the point is that they're going to destroy the whole outskirts, 2,000 amma outskirt of the city. So what does Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava do? He went and he sat between 2 very large mountains. And between 2 cities. Bekitzer, he sat far away from any kind of city. Okay, that's where he sat. In other words, if he would be caught, the Romans won't be able to destroy any city. And he gave smicha to the 5 famous elders: Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua. And some say there's a 6th one, Rabbi Avia Moisev Af, Rabbi Nechemia. It was also Rabbi Nechemia. When the enemy saw what's going on, Omar Lahem Bonai Rutzu, the famous Maisa, there's 2 friends walking in the forest, and suddenly they see a grizzly bear. So they started running for their life. And as they're running, one friend says to the other, "Why are we running? We can't outrun a grizzly bear." So the friend said, "You're right, we can't run a grizzly bear, but I can outrun you." So he said, "You run, and since I'm going to be behind, they'll take care of me." But what are you going to do? I'm going to be like a stone they can't flip over. Says the Maharam over here, some Rishonim, that Even Shein Lo Yehovchem is a promise that if somebody's Mekadeshim Shomayim, somebody says, "I want to die al Kiddush Hashem," he won't feel the pain. He'll be like a stone that you can't flip over. Amru leizazim misham at shenatzu legufay shalosh mez luniyos shel barzel. They put 300 spears into his body. We know throughout Shas 300 and 400 is usually a guzma. Here's a depiction, not of them putting the spears in his body, but the Talmidim running away between the 2 mountains. Great stuff. And they made his body like a sieve, here, like something like this. Basically, a bunch of holes. Akolpanim, what do you see from here? You see that many years after the Golos, after the enemy came in, they were still doing Knossos, Dina Knossos. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, the 5 Skanim, he gave them the smicha, they could do Knas. Says the Gemara, we're not talking about penalties, Elosh leidonu din fashes. They stopped killing people. The death penalty, capital punishment was abolished. My taima, why? Given the chazan official there were so many murderers. They couldn't get rid of all these murders. Amru, it's better that we go from one place to another. In other words, we pick ourselves up from right over here, from the Lishkas Hagazes, and move it. Move the Sanhedrin away. What's that going to help? So says Rashi, so the murderer shouldn't be killed. Every city has a 23-person Sanhedrin, not the 71, 23. They are permitted, they have the authority for capital punishment. They could kill people. But if we move the large Sanhedrin out of the Lishkas Hagazis, then nobody could do capital punishment. Even the existing 23 Sanhedrin in every city and city, they no longer have authority. They lose the authority by moving the Sanhedrin out of the Lishkas Hagazis. Why? Because it says in the Pasuk, the Gemara brings, they have to be in their place, in the Lishkas Hagazis. The place is what causes the authority. Without that, no capital punishment.
Afterwards, we'll get away with that.
No, just they can't. They couldn't take care of it anyway. Let HaKadosh Baruch Hu take care of it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of it. It's too many. Too many is too many. Whatever that means. It says anyway, a bezin that kills more than every 70 years is just not good for bezin. The problem we have a big problem. It's on a scale that bezin can't deal with it anymore. Says the Gemara. We just said that the Romans were in control for 180 years. What? It wasn't more than 180. Batani Rabbi Yosi Berebi, Malchus Paras. Check this out. Paras is 34 years. They ruled for the Yavan, 180 years. Hashmonaim, 103 years. Right? So this is, if we stop right over here, this is what where our Gemara started from after the Yavanim. We said that the Romans made a partnership with the Jews. We need to destroy the Greek. They couldn't. 32 times they tried to destroy the Greek. They couldn't. So Trump came in, made a deal with the Jews. We're going to wipe out the Yavanim. 103 years after that, plus 103 years of Hurdus, that's when the Churban Habayis happened. The problem is 103 plus 103. What's good about today is that even people that learned in Panovich, they learned math in Panovich, they get to understand the sugya easy. All the numbers are easy. 103 plus 103 equals 206. We said 180. We said that the Romans ruled over Klal Yisrael for 180. I don't see 180. I see 206. What's the obvious answer? So this is 420. Ask the Gemara, 103 plus 103 equals 206. The answer is, we can't count the 26 years of partnership with the Jews. So obviously the partnership with the Jews was how much? 26. We want to know how do you know it's 26 years? 26. Akoponim. Machos paraz b'fnei habayis shlish v'arba shana. Machos yom b'fnei habayis 180 shana. Machos hashmoneh b'fnei habayis 103. Machos b'yishurdas 103. 420 total. Mikam ve'elach tzevach hashoyv kama shana machar churban habayis. Now, this is the Hagdama to the Sugya, just this one line. When you're writing a document, when you write a get, when you do a real estate document, you're writing a year on it. So nowadays, we write either Tafshin Pei Hey, we write 2025. In those years, they wrote either the day of the Churban, from the day of the Churban. And that's what the Gemara just said now. This is the point where, from this point on, we're going to start counting from the Churban Habayis. We're going to write in a get 25 years after the Churban, 1,022 years after the Churban. Everything's going to go based on the Churban Habayis. Okay. Upon him, Almo asked the Gemara, Mosam b'shishavu. we have a total of 206. 103 plus 103 from the end of the Greek era is, yeah, you see, after the Greeks, until the Churban HaBayis is 103 plus 103. Chashmonaim and Hurdus. That equals to 206. So 206, how did you get to 180? So we must say, there was a deal, there was a ceasefire, there was a relationship between the Romans and the Jews. A what?
Alliance. Good.
An alliance. Gewaldig. There is a seat over here next to the Rosh Koilel. Oh, we got it over here. Okay. That's Yitzi's seat. So in Mela, they didn't subjugate the Jews then, 26 years. So you have to take off 26 years from the 206, and that leaves us with 180. In Mela, we're not going to count those 26 years. We're only going to count the 180 from the time that the Romans subjugated the Jews until the Churban HaBayis is 180. Great. Now, this, what we're about to say, goes to the bottom of the Amud. And the idea is super, super simple. Goes like this. The Greeks, like we have 2025, the Greeks also had a number. Nobody counted from the time of creation. They counted from when the Greeks took over. The day they took over, they're very proud of themselves. They start counting 1, 2, 3 years from the Greek, whatever you want to call it, the Greek emperor, the Greek conquest. The Greek conquest, great. From the conquest, that's a good word. We can use that word today. From the conquest and on. That's how they count. Great. How many years from the beginning of the Greek conquest to the Churban? 380. 380. Why? Because in fact we have 386. 103 plus 103 we said is 206. Plus 180 is 386. But we have to take off 6 years. Why? Because they didn't really rule the whole world. They were in Elam for 6 years. So we're going to minus the 6 years. So we have a nice round number now. 380. 380. Yes? Rabbi Isa, you're with me. How many years from the conquest till the Churban HaBayis? 380. It's 386. Forget the 6. It's 380. Great. So from 380 to 400 is how much? 20. That's the whole entire sugya. If you understand that, you got the whole sugya. I'm not joking. From 380 to 400 is 20 years. So if I'm Jewish, and I tell a Greek, I am 20 years after the Churban, how many years is that for him? What year is he in from the conquest? 400. 400. That is the whole Gemara. That's exactly what Reb Papa says. If you ask a Jew, how many years are you counting from the Churban? And he tells you 21. So you know that from the conquest is 401. And if he says 22, from the conquest is 402. Because it's 380 plus whatever it is after the Churban HaBayis. All you have to do is add 20. Now, let's say you're a guy. It doesn't have to be guy, I'm just throwing out a guy. Because we, the Jews, also use non-Jewish numbers in our invitations and in our contracts and everything. So we'll call him a cipher. He's a scribe that writes a document. If you don't know, if you know the Jewish, how many of you, I mean, I know myself, sometimes I sit down and writing a check, if people still do that, you write, I forget what year I'm in 2024 or 25, especially the first 2 months, I start getting confused. So all I need to do is find out what Jewish year it is, which I certainly don't remember. Is it Pei Dalet, Pei Gimel? It's Pei Hey. Okay, yeah, but people forget what year. So sometimes they remember the non-Jewish year, and based on the non-Jewish year, you can figure out what the Jewish year is. And if you know that, if you know the Jewish year, you can figure out the non-Jewish year. It just goes in reverse. All you need to do is add 20, and then you know what the non-Jewish year is. And all you need to do is subtract 20, and then you know what the non-Jewish year is. Yeah? So, says the Gemara, so far so good. That's the hardest part of today's daf. I'm not kidding.
Wasn't sure about the last thing. Hello. He got confused then.
No, because he's right. It's a machlokes. No, I'm kidding. Omer Papa, Itoi Haitana, the Jewish guy, the Tana. V'leyoda protik ha'amahavi. Gemara says, how many times have you seen it says 25 in a document? It doesn't say 2025. It says 25. Because everybody knows, unless you were in a major car accident and you just came out of a hospital, you know that you're in 20. You just don't know if you're in 25. You know you're in 20, but you don't know if you're in 2025 or 2024. The only thing you don't know is the single digit numbers. The large numbers you know. Sometimes it'll say pei hey. It doesn't say Tov Shin pei hey. It says pei hey. We know we're in Tov Shin. Huh?
Tov Shin pei hey is the hey at the beginning. It was 5,000. I think we do.
Okay, good. So, right. Mela, that's all he's saying. Loyoda protekama, you don't know the single digit numbers. L'shayli l'safro kamikosev. Find out from the non-Jew or from the Sofer, how many years has he put into his shtar? Very simple. Here, first of all, this. The guy for dummies, Panovich math. That's today. From the conquest, the Malchus Yavin conquest, until the Churban Abayis is 380. So, if it's 20 years after the Churban Abayis, that would make, from the conquest, 400. Now, you could also call 400 if you want. You could drop the 4 because everybody knows we're 400. We're not confused in the hundreds. So you could just put it in parentheses. We'll call it 00. Year 00 equals 20. 20 equals 00. And therefore, 01 equals 21. 21 equals 01. Here's just a harder one. Everybody could answer this besides if both of your parents are math professors. That's Aryeh. If I tell you the year is, I'm a guy, I tell you the year is 620. What year is it in the Jewish calendar? Huh? 640, anybody else? Again, we add 20. 400. I said 620. That means it's 200 years past everything we spoke about, plus 20. So the answer is, very good, 240. It's year 240 for the Jews. Yeah? At 400 is 20. So 400 plus 200 is 2. 2 plus, and we add a 20 is 240. Okay, this time to confuse you. You get the idea. Mendy, you're holding with that? Okay, good. Now what about the reverse? We don't even have to go into the reverse. We don't need to do reverse. The point is, it's the same exact thing. We're just going to the opposite way. That what? Just add 20. You'll find your solution, your math. Computation, is there such a word? Your math. Okay, you'll find your solution. And just so you can remember how many years you had, I was 20 years in your house. 20. Now the same thing in reverse, and we're going to do the same exact thing one more time in a different number, and that's the end of the Amud. That's today's. Now, if you look at the art scroll, 14 and a half pages of massive calculations and things and Zayin, it is that simple. You add a 20 in Shalom Yisrael. That is it. Happens to be, if you're not even on a Panovich math level, then tomorrow, I'm telling seriously, tomorrow, all stories. Mamish, stories, Gewaldige stories. But it's simple. We're talking about a 20 here. You add a 20 to 380 and you get to 400. This is the most difficult daf in Avodah Zarah. It is. Itoi safro nishayla latana kama choshev. Now, if the non-Jew wants to know the non-Jewish number, he just does the reverse. Nishayla latana kama choshev. He asks the Jew, what's your year? And just take off 20. If he tells him, yeah? He tells him 230, or 240, it's 610, v'chulu v'chulu. Okay, 20 years, he says 20 years after the Churban, then I know it's 400 for the Greek. Then I'll find the solution. B'simanach, safra b'tzira. A cipher takes off. Why? What does that mean, a cipher takes off? Here's just the riddle. How do you spell, and we say it every day in Kriya Shema, how do you spell the word mezuzos, plural, in Kriya Shema? Anybody with one vav or two vavs? If you were here last night, please don't scream the answer. I know you know the answer. Huh? There is a vav. One.
Two parshas, each one's different.
Oh.
My brother wrote a book on it.
There's two parashas. The first parasha has one vav. The second parasha has two vavs. But what do you see? That a cipher removes a vav. That's his job. He sometimes removes. Another famous example is besukos. Without a vav, a cipher removes the vav. So a cipher takes off. A Tana adds. Tosefta, he adds. It's just a way to remember that the guy takes off the 20 years, the Jew adds the 20 years, the 380 plus 20 has a full number, 400. Great. Boy say, please enjoy this one line of Agadata. It's Moridik. Tana Devei Eliyahu. You learned the Eliyahu Navi. Sheishes Alavim Shana Havi Oilam. The world is 6,000 years. Shnei Alafim Tayu. The first 2,000 years were emptiness, zero Torah, empty. Shnei Alafim Torah. From that point on, 2,000 years of Torah. And then, Shnei Alafim Yemais Mashiach, and 2,000 years, the days of Mashiach. We are in the days of Mashiach. In other words, any single day Mashiach will come. After that is over, Mashiach has to come. 7,000 years, like Shabbos, Menucha, the world is over. Mashiach. So again, first 2,000 years, nothing. Second 2,000 years, all Torah. The last 2,000 years, Yemais Mashiach. Rabbi Isai, where did the second 2,000 years start? At what point? What's the obvious answer? Matan Torah. The problem is that Matan Torah was at 2448. We're 448 years too late. It can't be at Matan Torah. That's the problem here. So let's see inside. Baba Yisenu Harabim, Baba Yisenu Shurabu, our tremendous Averis cause Yatsu Mehem, Masha Yatsu Mehem. Whatever years we missed out in the Yemais Mashiach, Mashiach didn't come, farfallen.
After the 2000?
After the 4,000. We're talking about from the 4,000 years of Bria Sa'ilam and on is Yemais Mashiach. Lamaisa, we're in Yemais Mashiach now. Mashiach hasn't come yet. It's because we have a lot of Averis. Shnei Alafim Torah Meimas. When did the 2,000th year of Torah that you're talking about, the 2,000 of Torah, when did it start? If you're going to say that it's from Matan Torah till today, like a kulihai, we don't have a full 2,000. Because if you look into it, Trey Alpha Prote, Di Alpha Hu Dahave. We're missing 448. Why? So, I know you know the answer. There's a long Rashi here that goes through a beautiful thing. The Torah tells us exactly when Matan Torah was. The Torah says how old Adam Rishon was when Chaim was born. When Chaim was born, how old he was when his son was born. So we take those years. When each person's son was born, we stop and we start we have another number, 130 years plus 120 years. We know when Avraham Avinu was born. Here, I got to show you this. This is very, very important.
You can win $1,000 if you quickly answer what important historical event happened in 1948.
הבנתי מה אתה רוצה שם יגיד. אתה חושב שאני ציוני? מצד שני, $1,000.
Time's up. The correct answer is that Avraham Avinu was born.
מה? איך אני אמור לדעת את זה?
Didn't we learn that today with Reb Eli?
מי זה? המגווח של מויסף דף יומי דרך האינטרנט? זה שצועק.
That sounds like you watch the shir.
חס ושולם, אין לי בבית טכנולוגיה. מו, רק שאני אצל המחדים אני קצת מציץ.
Okay. I can't tell you how many times people come over to me. I don't watch the shir. I mean, when I get stuck, I watch the shir. I don't watch the shir, but it's very good. It's very stark. Huh? I'm serious. I'm talking about in the hundreds. No, when they tell it to me, I say, okay, so you watch every day. And it's that shady that people come to me. I watch your shir all the time. Like the time you stepped on the grapes on the table. He saw one status clip. I watch your shir. Okay. You get to learn. You get to learn your audience. So Nachamal. Avraham Avinu was born in 1948. You know who else was born in 1948? Yisrael Helper. You also were born in 1948?
And me?
No, but he was born. And you? And you? A bunch of Tziyonim here. Wow. Wow. Gewaldig. Anyway, if you ever want to know what year the Medina was established, you can remember because Avraham Avinu was born in 1948. Anyway, Avraham Avinu, that's the only thing we need to know. Rashi goes, you want to look in Rashi or the Art Scroll, will tell you all the years from Adam Marisha. But 1948 was the year. We're mamish counting year by year from creation. 1948 was the year Avraham Avinu was born. Now, if that's the case, let's see what we have here. Oh, for Matan Torah is 2448. So we're missing 448 years. There's something off here. We're saying there's 2,000 full years of Torah. Right? From Matan Torah to the 4,000th year is 1,552, right? We're missing. We're missing a little bit. So, let's see. Avram was born in 1948. Oh, the answer is we're not going to count from the day he was born. We're going to count from the day he brought nefashos into Klal Yisrael. He started making gerim. So 52 plus 48 equals the mamish, the number that we're looking for, 2,000. So now we have a round number. Let's see inside. Hello. Hello. From the time that Avraham Avinu made his first ger, we know. We have a Kabbalah, the Gemara says. He was 52 years old when he made his first ger. So from then we start counting the 2,000. Oh, so from creation all the way till the 4,000, it equals up perfect. It's not from Matan Torah like we thought. It's from when it's a nefesh asu b'char. You start counting 2,000 years. You go 2,000 years from there. Boom, that's where your 4,000 starts. That's where the Yemais HaMashiach starts. The 4,000, the millennium, the 4,000. Now, it happens to be a very interesting thing that if you pay attention, the Medrash says, what happened to the nefesh asu b'charim? They're not brought in the Torah. Where are they? They went to Mitzrayim. What happened to them? They were Har Sinai. Says the Medrash, none of them, they disappeared. They went back. Chazru l'sura. Maybe they didn't like Yitzchak, whatever it was, back. So Rav Steinman asked the kasha. He says, so then why does the Torah talk about it? They all went off. So what's the point? So he says, Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says, it's not what you accomplish, it's what you do. You got to do. You got to do. You got to bring people to the daf. Whether they stay or not, that's somebody else's problem. You got to bring a person to Torah. You got to bring a person. It's a nefesh zazu. But a very important thing you see over here also, that the first 52 years of Avram's life, that he learned Torah, he knew all Torah. The Gemara considers it toyu. Your Torah starts becoming Torah when you bring somebody else to Yiddishkeit. You got to bring somebody else in, Rabbi Yisrael. Okay.
Also, the days that they were Baalei Tshuva also count. And the days you
Sure,
counts.
that's right.
Later you leave it.
Correct, 100%. Not Baalei Tshuva, the Mamish Gerim. But yeah. Says the Gemara.
Kama Botzron.
Kama Botzron Midetoni Tana. How much are we missing here to get to the 4,000? Arba Moav, Arba Mitani, Shnin, we're missing 448 like you see over here. We count from that time, which is exactly 2,000 as you see. Ad Matan Torah, Arba Moav, Arba Mitani, Shnin Havion. So from that point, as I never said, until Matan Torah is 448, plus the 1552 equals 2,000, so we're at a round number. Great. Now, Rabbi Yisai, we're doing the same exact math with a harder number. Instead of 20, it's 48. But it's the same idea as we said before. Now what? When was the Churban? Churban is in year 3028. The 3828. Yeah? 3828. And today, right now, we're discussing the Yemais HaMashiach. When does the Yemais HaMashiach start? At 4,000. Yeah? So what's the difference? How many years did it take from the Churban until 4,000? 172. Okay? So that's the number that we're looking for now. Again, from the Churban till the beginning of Yemais HaMashiach is 172. So if you take 172 plus the 380 of the Greeks, from the conquest to the Churban is how much? 380. 380 plus 172? 552. So now we have a new number. It's the same thing. From the Greek conquest all the way to the year number 1 on 4,000, to Yemais HaMashiach, is 552. How do we get there? 380 plus 172, it's not important anymore how we got there. 552 is the number. So, again, Rabbi Yisai, you're holding with me? This is the same exact cheshbon, super simple. From the Greek conquest until year 4,000 is 552 years. Now, if you're a Jew and you round it up to 600, you got 48 years because you're working off the Churban. You're working off the Churban. You're not working off Malchus Yavim, you're working off the Churban. So for you, if you mention to somebody year 48, then you can know when the Greek, it's the same thing as we said before. Just we're not working from the Churban, we're working from year 4,000. Because in year 4,000, from Yemais HaMashiach, there's a new count. People started counting over. They're not going to start counting again. So if I say year 4,048, so I know that I can know from there where the Malchus Yom was. For instance, here, if I add 48 years to 552, 48 years is 600. So if I tell somebody, if I'm Jewish, and I tell somebody, by the Jew, I write in my get year 48 from the year 4,000, right? I'm starting from Yemais HaMashiach. I call it 4,048. I write in the star, 4,048. So you know right away that it's 600 years from the conquest of the Greeks. Because all I need to do is add 48. So, okay, it's one of these cheshbainos. I could also call 600, 00, and I call 448. And I work backwards the same way. If the Greek tells me how many years it is, I know how many years it is for the Jew, and the Jew tells me how many years it is. I know how many years it is for the Greek. Shalom Yisrael. He doesn't know the exact year. He should ask the Sefer how many. He should ask the non-Jew or the guy that writes invitations. We write in our invitations 2025. So ask him what the year is for the non-Jew. For the add 48, and you'll get to your year. And that's the calculation. Amud Beis, the 48 cities. Now, what if the non-Jew doesn't know what year he's in for the Greeks? And if the Jew tells him it's year 48, and he should take off 48, he'll understand his calculation. And the same simon that we said before, Safra B'tzira, a cipher takes off, because when he writes, he's very exact. Sometimes he removes a vav, sometimes he doesn't. Tana Taisfa, but a Tana, and when he teaches, he is a little bit more liberal. Daf Tes Amud Beis is sponsored by Adar Global. Ooh, they made it to the top now. Experts in international financial services, and in honor of the kids' innovations, you know their names, on their way to finishing Shas. Anonymous, as Chos, Fatzlocha, and Ruchnis, and Gashmias, and for smooth, healthy labor and birth. Amen. Givat Shalva, a Torah, true community in Givat Zev. Interesting. Shmak. Is that you? You have Shai for that? Cool. Okay. Rabbi Isai, one more cheshbon for today. Actually, two more. This is super simple. We're talking about Shemitah now. Shemitah. By the way, tzaddik, not every daf is like today, so you can come back. Tomorrow is all stories. It's like, oh man, they told me about this Daf Yomi thing. Wow, this ain't for me. No, it's okay. Everybody can leave when they want. Akol B'Seder. A guy in Hebrew, Yaakov Shafran, asked me yesterday, is it better that I don't come, or I come and I get up in the middle? I said, of course, come and get up in the middle. So he comes, and right when the emails were over, he got up and left. You could look it on video. I didn't know he was talking about that. I was like, hey. I was like, you just missed that test, you know. He's like, no, I got to give a shear, whatever. He went to give a shear. But I told him, come for a little Torah. And he was like, okay, to him, I guess mails are Torah, emails are Torah. Yeah, what? Good point, good point. It might have been like 45 minutes in the shear. Yeah, good point. That's what happened. Anyway, let's do this Baal Peh real quickly. If you don't know what year it is in the Shemitah, but you know that Shemitah was 25 years ago. Shemitah is 7 years, right? Every 7 years is Shemitah. You know that Shemitah was 25 years ago. On your anniversary, you got married on a Shemitah year. And that was 25 years ago. So what do? You divide 25 by 7. How many 7s go into 25? 3. And how many extra days do we have? How many years do we have? 4. So you're in the 4th year of Shemitah. Okay? Now what happens if you the same exact thing, we're going to do with 1,000 years. That's all the Gemara is going to do now. A larger number, let's complicate it a little bit. So, it's like today, you take out your phone, even if you have a kosher phone, you go 1,000 divided by 7, poof, whatever the number is, and whatever's extra, that's the year you're in. But this is Panovich math, so it goes a little different. It goes like this. Every 49 years is a Shemitah, according to Rabbi Yehuda. According to Chaim, it's 50. Yovel. Every 49 years is Yovel. So we're going to go according to that sheet, it's every 49 years. So in every 100 years, how many Yovels are there? 2. And you have 2 extra years. Okay, so you got to take those 2 extra years and put them on the side. So if you have 1,000 years, how many hundreds are in 1,000? 10. What? No, 49. I just said we're going according to Rabbi Yehuda. You spaced out for a second. We're going according to Rabbi Yehuda. It's every 49 years, not 50 like Chacham. Yeah, we're going to get there in a second. Let's just do this first. Mamish, simple math. Like when you don't have calculator error, no calculator error. Take 1,000 years, divide them into 100, so you have 10 hundredths, right? Every 100 is 2 yovels, which is 2 years you have to put on the side. So if you have 10 of these things, how many 2 years do we have? 20. So let's say we're 1,004 years ago. 1,004 years ago, we had a Shemitah. I know it's 1,004 years from the Churban, whatever, right? We'll start counting from the Churban. Let's start counting from Churban Bayesheni. Now we're in year 1,004. So how many yovels are there?
20.
We have 20 of these 2 years, right? Yeah, 20. 20 of each one, 20 of the 2 years. So we have 20 years. Now, we add the 20 to year 1004, so we have the 4. We have to take the extra 4 years out, put it on the 20. How much is that? 24. There's only one more number that we have to add, and that's the number 1. We always add a 1. Why? Because think about it. We started counting the Shemitah after the Churban. When was the Churban, Rabbi said? What day of the year? On Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is at the end of the year. So we're not going to count that year. We're going to count afterwards. It happens to be that the Churban was on the first year of Shemitah. So we're going to start counting the following year. So you always have to add one more year. Okay, so the math is very, very simple now.
Why?
No, we're going to add a year. We have to add a year for that year of the Churban.
Why is that not counted?
No. We start counting afterwards, but we have to add another year because we skipped it. So we have to add it back in. The first year of the Shemitah. No, here. Here, look. So Rabbi says it's very, very super simple. Let's say we're in year 1004. Right now, it says on our stars that we know 1004 from the Churban. So we have to add that 1 year. Add 1 year always. Now, 1,000 years, we made it into 10 boxes of 2 yovels each. And each yovel is an extra. It's a year extra because it's 49, not 50. So that's 2 years. 2 times 10 is 20. Right? These are all simple numbers. Two times, we have 20 days, 20 years, 20 extra years that we are not accounted for. Put them on the side. So now we have 21. Plus the 4, because it's 1,004, I just threw out a number there. Total of 25. 25 divided by 7 years of Shemitah is how many? 3 plus 4 years. So we're in the year 4 of a Shemitah cycle. That's this cheshbon. Let's see what he did here. 20 plus 4. Okay, Geschmack. So we're in year 4 of the 7-year Shemitah cycle. Let's see inside. And today we have a calculator. We don't really need this. You don't know what year in the Shemitah you're holding. You have to add 1 year. Right? That's the 1 year that we add. Take the large number of the yovels. The large number is 49. So every 100 has 2 of these. And then you add also the single years that are left over, in our case, 1004, the 4. From every 100 years, you have 2 years that are not accounted for because the yovel is only 49. So every 50 you have 1 extra year. Every 100 you have 2 years. Take those 2 years and put them in the cheshbon together with the single years. Now you calculate the single years in the B'Shavua, in the Shemitah. If you have 25, you divide it by the Shavua of the Shemitah. That it adds up to 3 plus 4. 3 Shemitah years, but 4 years that are unaccounted for. Now you know you're in year 4 of the Shemitah. Rabbi say I have a no, not yet. How do I know that I don't go like Chachamim and I'm going like Rabbi Yehuda in this case? Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, in every 100 years, there's 2 years that are unaccounted for. Shnosayim harav b'kerev haaretz. According to Chachamim, it equals up evenly. We could do a few more lines here. Omer Reb Chanina, Achar Arbamis L'Churban Habayis. Let's go. When was the Churban Habayis? Churban Habayis was 3828. That's the year from the day Adam Rishon was born to the Churban Habayis, 3828, 3,828 years. It's a long time, yeah? 400 years later, he says. 400 years later, do not buy real estate in Israel. You hear? You. No, in Israel. Yeah. Why? Because Mashiach is coming. What year is Mashiach coming? 4228. From then, you got to be careful. You're going to lose your money. He's giving you pennies on the dollar. Instead of 1,000, give me one. It's not a good deal. Why? You're going to lose your money. Why did Mashiach come? No, in Eretz Yisrael. Where it says? Where is it? No.
No, you're losing it and going
Are
back
you
to
sure?
Israel. Yeah, of course. Because you're going back to Eretz Yisrael. Well, why buy a property if you're going back to Eretz Yisrael?
Rashi says that you're going to go to Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see Rashi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned this Eretz Yisrael, but okay. You say Eretz Yisrael?
No.
Right, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Back to Eretz Yisrael. So it's not point to buy Chutzlars.
What?
You're going to return.
There's also a pshat like I said. Okay, great. So I learned, okay, either way, you get the idea. The idea is Mashiach is coming any minute. Why didn't he come? Rabbi Aviseinu. The problem is, b'masnis tana, achar bas alofim. The problem is in the Bryce it says 42:31. What do I do? See the tana achar bas alofim u'masayim u'shloishim v'achas shonu b'ris ha'olam. Don't do the deal. Tloshnin. The masnisa tafiyot tloshne. So the brisa, as you see, is 3-year different, and yeah. So he's saying 400. The brisa is another 3 years after that. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Motzi Shabbos at 10 o'clock sharp.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYSponsor.com or sponsor at MDY DAF.com.